Hello and welcome everyone to day 2 of the Max Finale event, and today we're starting off with a Zamazenta check because it's about the only interesting thing in my book. So today's agenda is the following. We're already nearly at 11 o'clock, ditched the first hour, and we're going to see how many people of the local community come out for today because the reception was cold after yesterday, shall we say. I'd like to hit a few Charizards and a few Toxtricity, but that's about it. And I will say, we will be utilizing what we have left. We have ourselves 15 green passes, and we have some max points to claim and collect from the day. We did claim the codes that were given out thanks to the YouTube subscriptions on Pokemon Go. So we've got our resources today. If we don't get anything, that is that. But we will be talking over the course of today about a bit more in extensive detail why this event has been so negatively received, what could be done to improve it, and why did they choose to do certain things. Honestly, because there's now a lot of things floating around. You may have seen it if you've been on social media. The Niantic support account had to put out a social media post clarifying that the boost from the Deluxe Pass did apply to not only the encounters featured in the pass, but also the 1 to 4 star max battles over the course of this week that were available. Because people were reporting to the Niantic support in-game bot. I would like to shout out actually the person who tagged me on X and showed this is from a Japanese player's account apparently. And you can see here at the top highlighted, the Deluxe Pass for the Max Finale gives you an increased chance of encountering shiny Dynamax Pokémon from the encounter rewards that come from the pass, specifically 1 to 4 star. It only applies to those reward encounters. This does not affect shiny appearance of Pokemon you encounter directly within the Dynamax battles themselves. That lit a small fire underneath people, quite rightly so, because that was not clarified within any media anywhere at all. Now apparently that's not the case, but we know with Niantic we can't trust an iota of what they say. Let's see what we get today, if anything, because we're still quite embittered about the whole process. And I would like to say thanks to anybody who's commented on the day 1 video, be it positive, negative, roasting me for burning my max particles. I will choose what I put in content-wise into my videos, thank you very much, because otherwise you have nothing to watch. We did find the very small group of people who are out here today. They took down the Charizard. We missed the lobby. It's not a shiny Zamazenta in 2145. I think that would be a Hundo Heatran from memory. Have such limited resources today. I'm not topping up the coins. I have 1,000 coins left to spend today. That's it. We've got the Charizard here and a 5k egg hatching. Glorious. Oh, for a Larvesta. It's not a hundo, but that's cool. So what we got here, there's a Charizard down there, Charizard down there. Okay, Charizard number 1 of the day, done. And I don't know how many we're actually going to be able to do today because of obviously the max particle collection and how many we could buy with the 1,000 coins we've got left. And it'd be worth seeing the nice shiny one because we've never been able to get it. And it's still not shiny in 1621. We did do several remotes, I think like 9 remotes while we were editing last night. Thanks everybody who sent me an invite, genuinely. I was just pinging the ones I had invites for and saw good numbers in. 2 Toxtricity, 1 Machamp, 6 Charizard, no shinies, like 2 backgrounds, that's it. This doesn't even have a background, and yeah, very mediocre. Get the lucky egg down, because why not? Level up with Mark, the chap who gave us the Schlundo Drillbur. No, definitely not a 1 in 10. 100% not a 1 in 10. There's some debate going around due to the statistics of people doing the GMax battles over the course of yesterday. They're supposed to be a 1 in 20, but the common number that's been coming up is apparently these are a 1 in 64, which is criminal, honestly, utterly criminal. There were 2 shinies from that last battle, which I think is the most I've seen from 1 battle in the whole weekend. So let's see if we get lucky. No. Oh dear God, it's bad.
Hello.
Fantastic. So were there any shinies from that one? No. Nothing. It's not even a background one. Yeah, it's that issue of like, it thinks the Pokemon's still there, but it's not. Great, so we've got 2 Squirtle and 2 Eternatus here.
Wait,
Where?
give it a minute because it's going.
But I can confirm we've reached rank 500 on the pass, so there you go. Took 2 attempts to get a decent lobby on this one, but 20 people. Thankfully it scales somewhat, so fingers crossed for some shiny luck for the small group we've got going around. Thanks everybody who's remoted in on this one, because honestly it's really appreciated today. No shinies. And, oh yes, it's shiny. Our first shiny GMax of the weekend. Hallelujah. Let's give it a silver pineapple. 1637 is actually okay, I think, in terms of IV. Brilliant. That's our first GMax Charizard shiny as well. Let's see how good it was. It's actually a background shiny. Oh my goodness me.
Oh.
Wow. And 93. 15, 12, 15. Do you know what? I will definitely take that as a top tier fire type. Thank you, game. I'm feeling a bit more vindicated from today, actually. Although, I noticed this yesterday, and let me know your thoughts on this. It's just like a small detail, usually the small details. Usually for big events, it gives you like the event tag, be it a community day, a kind of Go Fest, a tour, that sort of thing. For this Go Fest Max Finale, there's no event tag on the catches, which I think, you know, come on, it's just saying the 23rd and 24th of August 2025 when we know there was this event going on. I think it would have been nice, you know, my GMax Shiny Charizard, if it had a Max Finale Go Fest tag, would have been quite special. It's still my special first one, because obviously I wasn't able to do the first wave at the tail end of 24, and the second wave, it was for Coco Community Day, and was unable to get any decent shiny ones, so there we go. Let me know in the comments below how day 2 fared for you. Were you still going ham for things, or were you taking it much more easy like we are here? Because I think we've got Toxtricity here, and then it's Butterfree the next hour, which we're all gonna have some lunch. And a Toxtricity done. Now I'm gonna say this, they were different per day on the schedule, but obviously the whole schedule, someone at Niantic clearly got that and put it through the shredder, because it doesn't make an iota of difference to what's around. So we had Loki and Amped yesterday, and now it's gonna be a kind of lucky guess, see which version of the form this is going to be. But it does need to be red and 1486. Come on, it's not shiny. 1462, it's not by far our best, but it's not the worst. So let's get that caught and see if it has a background. I don't think there was anything back there for the little community of people here. Did get a background Toxtricity last night, which is cool. There's no background on this one, unfortunately, and it's not. Actually, I think it's about as good as the one we powered up because we really needed the Toxtricity. Claim this. By the way, Corey from our local community did actually dispose upon us a word of wisdom. Is the unlock a max move for 100 candy. We were panicking like, I don't want to burn the max particles, but the way to circumvent that is get a Zamazenta or Zacian and unlock a max move on these Pokemon, because when you do that, it costs you Stardust and candy of that Pokemon. And thankfully, Stardust is something we're getting a lot of from the Max battles and GMax battles. We could do that and claim those quests for more Eternatus candy, which I think is great. That's a good tip. I wish I knew about it or thought about it yesterday. Thank you to Kevin111 from Holland, because I spammed into the remote for Toxtricity. So that's one of our 2 remote passes remaining, and it was a Toxtricity, which we would like to get a decent one of with a shiny potential. And I managed to hang in the lobby on my own. Not shiny, 1461. 1 CP worse than our in-person endeavor. Not necessarily worth the remote, but I like Toxtricity. Low-key, and it's not a backgrounder. Oh dear. Zacian. Oh dear. And we got 1 more Toxtricity in the Butterfree hour. I think there's only 1 Butterfree across the whole selection of power spots here, but that's fine. We don't care for Butterfree too much. Quite a few people jumping on this one. Thank you very much. Although Toxtricity I think is the easiest GMax to do given its double weakness, and personally, as I said, I like it. One of my faves. Let's see. It's not shiny and pretty terrible as well. We keep going down in terms of numbers. We were potentially going to be joined today by the wonderful Alex Nexton, but unfortunately he's feeling a bit more unwell, so he hasn't been able to make his flight over to here. So, bro, I'm going to wish you the very best. Hope you get well soon, mate. It would have been really nice to see you, but yeah. For the first time, actually, yesterday I wasn't really catching anything, but I am going around catching various different wild spawns, and what is there to report apart from the fact that they exist? Toxtricity respawned exactly the same location during the Butterfree hour, which is good for us, is what we want to battle. Had a lobby of 22 people, thank you. And we're now accompanied by a very lovely, relaxed piano player over there at the bandstand, kind of adding to the Sunday chilled vibes. Let's see what we get, shall we? Come on. Boom. Oh, it's a shiny one. Yes, there we go. We'll give it a silver pineapple. After enough battles, we finally get 2 that we really like. 1424 is really bad though, so that, if it has a background and find someone to like for like lucky swap that one, that would be brilliant. Is it the Amped? That's the one I like. Nice. Come on. It doesn't have a background, but that's absolutely fine. Oh my god, it's 11, 11, 10. Definitely a candidate for a lucky trade on that one. Really good. Remember, I got 1 of these on the Go Wild area, and I think it's exactly the same as this, actually. Great. 2 shinies, feeling much more content, really. It's that thing of the headspace, knowing I only have a set number of max particles. I've now got to choose with my 1100 coins, do I buy just max particle packs, or do I buy the box with 3 remote passes in it and 2400 max particles? I don't know. I'd rather try and do the local ones and get more battles done. So, I don't know, there's an odd peace and serenity to knowing you are restricted, as it were, and once you're done, you're done. We did say yes to putting a green pass into this Valor Pikachu raid, and oh, it's a shiny one. Oh my god. Sorry, Jeroen. That is a real shocker turnout for the books. I don't tend to get that sort of stuff. That's fantastic. Sunday is okay. Should have just called yesterday off, honestly. That is beautiful. Obviously, we know it's not quite near 100%, but it's the 3-star. I don't know if that was the one I was struggling to get over the course of the GO Fest global weekend. I really struggled to get the Valor tubes. So there we go. Honestly, everybody's broken up for lunch and gone somewhere. We're going to see what happens, you know, when it switches to 1 o'clock. We had a Zacian encounter from an in-person radio. Thankfully, we're not at the top or the half part of the hour, so we can get our encounter back. Honestly, the game crashed just as I was starting screen record. Not a shiny one, and oh dearie me, that is bad. But it's cool, get some crown sword energy and some candy. I decided to buy the max particle packs in solo just because it means we get total for the coins I had 4,800 max particles, which equals 6 GMax Pokémon, I think. And that now leaves me in the situation I can do 6 more GMax, and that is it. Did a nice little trio on this Zamazenta, and it was a close one. 3 of us just about took it down with 30 seconds remaining, thanks to these 2 peeps for sticking it out. Are we going to be rewarded with anything other than energy? It ain't pink. 2716. Obviously 2735 is the boosted 100% of either of the legendaries. The interest to battle these 2, considering we raided them heavily over the GO Fest, is in short supply. I have seen people battling them and remoting them. I've been burning my in-person passes on them. I think it's good to collect the energy and get them. They're 2 very powerful and lucrative Pokemon just in the raids and the max battles alone. And actually Zamazenta is certainly a really good tank to have for the max battle system. All that's left for me to say actually is go and drop a download to episode 237 of the Incensed podcast, which drops today. It's available on any podcast platform and the Incense Podcast YouTube channel, which you can find on the link tree in the description. On this week's show, we very heavily discuss the whole pay-to-win factor of Pokemon Go in the modern era. There's a lot of other fun and games over in that episode as well, so thank you anybody who supports the podcast. We just managed to sneak a few people into this Blastoise that's not shiny and a little way off 100%. We did thankfully get a Goku Bad 98er, which I think was our first G-Max of the whole weekend via remote, so it'd be nice to try and go for shiny, which is what the hour is. So over the next 30 minutes, we'll see if there's a few battles around, but that's 1 of 6 remaining G-Max battles we can do, so we've got 5 left that we can tackle. And it's not a backgrounder, so 91er, but very much up for a trade. Thankfully, on the flip of the rotation, we had 2 more Blastoise, and amazingly, 17 people, I think it was in the end, made pretty light work, and this is 1376. Not a shiny, would be nice to grab one, but not holding my breath. Gotta be honest. Anyway, no background. And the second Blastoise, let's see if we can get ourselves the shiny one. No, we cannot, and it's 1384. So Cinderace, and then we've got the Toxtricity, but the Toxtricity forms are all mishmashed. Background Blastoise? No. Very, very few backgrounds today. I think thankfully we got it on the shiny Charizard. But apart from that, very, very minimal. Now, 3 o'clock, we did indeed manage to get into, well, what's now a new development building in the studios. Blastoise, not shiny. 1364, the worst of the 4 that we've got. Still a very usable G-Max. No background for that one. Jason would approve of that one. Nice middle finger stats. So what we've got? We've got an Articuno there. Eternatus, a Sobble. Raikou. There's 1 Cinderace and 1 Toxtricity at the end of the park. I think we know the direction we are headed. Took down the Toxtricity first, people wanting the shiny. I will say, despite the small squad, a handful of people jumping in on remote, I think but 12 people took down this Toxtricity. Mine is not a replicated shiny in 1443. Well, let's see what form it's going to be first, shall we? And whether it's going to have a background. All right, let's see. It's a background low-key one. There we go. We stopped to do a Zamazenta to help a young chap get the rest of his energy. This is not a shiny one. Toxtricity down there. Came to the consensus. We don't want Cinderace. Can't be shiny. We're on Toxtricity. Because it can be. We've got somebody to check our Toxtricity. What did you just pull in? Your Toxtricity was
1470.
1470. Wasn't shiny, but pretty decent. Hopefully, bringing some good luck. Not shiny. Oh dear. At least the shiny light went to someone who needed it, and he got a decent one. So hey, thanks very much.
Yeah.
And here we are, folks. This is the final G-Max battle that we can do today. It was my last pack, and not a shiny Blastoise, and 1388. We have no more max particles and no way to get any more at all. We're maxed out for the day. Pass is done, coins are done, and that's it, we're not doing any more. We have a few more green passes and 1 remote pass left, so I think some Zacian Zamazenta might be on the cards. We played it very, very slow today. We started late and now we're having to finish early, and this is what I mean with the max particle things. 3200 is stingy. Even with the max pass thing, you've paid money to get that. Even the free stuff is not that great if you're expecting to do a lot of GMax, and they want you to do a lot of GMax. So, not even a background for my trouble. There we go. And that is that. Dirty 3-star to finish up. So, Go Fest Max Finale. Don't tend to finish events early or start them late, but unfortunately, that is the name of the game with this weekend. Before we conclude today, a big thanks to every single person who's part of the Patreon squad, many of whom were either jumping in my GMax battles and raids and things for the weekend, or who are pinging invites my way. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for taking your support to the next level of this channel and the content and everything on it. You guys make things possible, like the travel, the insane grinds, putting in the time and effort. Thank you very much to each and every one of you for continuing to support me as a creator. Really appreciate it. But you know who I don't appreciate is the people who created and executed this event. I'm gonna say something, we're gonna wrap up this whole Max Finale crap show that it's been, really. Where have we gone wrong? What's actually been good? What was executed poorly? What should have been implemented and wasn't? And everything else. So let me know your thoughts and feelings, of course, in the comments below. Now we've had the whole weekend to suffer through. Few good things were... I'm genuinely struggling to think of any. What?
Honey, Frost Shiny, and the 140 GMax battle.
Honey Mew, Jesus Christ. And he was at Gamescom.
Yeah,
as a German content creator, dude. Good lad.
So
140 GMax battles, one shiny. That shows systematically what was wrong with this event. So let's begin with a few things, shall we? The idea of the Go Past Max Finale, of course, is a good one. It's great to have a free progression. If you want to upgrade it, fine, you pay the amount of money. I think it was too expensive, first and foremost. The tour pass and things like that were 14 or 15 quid, which for what you got made quite a lot of sense. This thing was already a very expensive event on paper, and the Go Pass for the finale really just sort of added more to it. So yes, you got a ton of Eternatus candy and a bit of XL candy and a few bits and pieces. But where things really went wrong were with that shiny boost. Now, I don't know what blithering idiot over in California or Niantic thought it was a good idea to put the shiny boost only on 1 to 4 star battles, which are actually the battles that you don't necessarily want to do, because of course we had the whole thing of each of the legendaries returning, the 5 stars, and then the weekend is filled with Gmaxes. If you pay £25, or in some currencies it equates to a hell of a lot more than that, you should be getting top dollar for your event. And frankly, I'm sitting here thinking, was it really worth the investment? As a player, as a content creator, it's good for me to show and exercise what you get if you did buy it, and you know what you would put into it, etc. There were people who went more hardcore than me, absolutely. Why was there no boost on the Gmax? It makes no sense to me, honestly. Like, the Gmax were the key focus of this whole thing, apart from Eternatus. We'll get to Eternatus in a moment, but we will come back to a positive point. It was a really good idea on paper to have the GMax Pokemon returning. Tons of people out there had missed out on the opportunity to get plenty of the GMax Pokemon that were either unavailable for them beforehand, or they were only available before the remote GMax and DMax battles were made accessible. Things like Machamp and everything after that, we've had a remote possibility to do, and they've had boosted remotes on the events and things like that. So if you wanted to spend the money, you could do. But the GMax starters and Kingler and a handful of others were all inaccessible for a large proportion of you, which I'm hoping you guys were able to at least dex them, because quite frankly, as it turned out, wishing for anything shiny, I mean, I saw some people, and certainly my Patreon chat, having insanely good fortune. Shout out to Elise, who got a Shundo Charizard GMax with a background. There are a few other insane catches, but they are few and far between. And I'm walking away from today on Sunday, quite frankly, blessed as far as I'm concerned with 2 shiny Gmaxes. Like, that's more than what we got yesterday, that's for damn sure. The Gmaxes should have been shiny boosted, certainly for the amount of max particles you're getting. Again, we'll get onto that. But also, why not have them reduced for the first time ever? They could have reduced the max particle cost per battle to really incentivize people to go out there. You know, that might have made remote battling a little bit less of a sting. I think that would have been quite a good idea. And it would have made things a bit better if they were, for example, a 1 in 20, which I don't think they were, to be honest. I've done way more than that and got nothing. That's that. Let me know what you think of those ideas. Just for demonstration and conclusion, I would like to show over the course of this weekend with some remotes, not crazy numbers, I would definitely stress, but mostly, vast majority in person, 67 7 GMax were done. And honestly, when you consider getting 2 shinies as a bloody lucky streak, that should signal alarm bells on an event like this, and both of them came today after a long slog with Charizard, including 2 previous waves of it. And the thing is, at the end of the day, what do you end up with? Yes, you end up with a GMax possible Pokemon, but it's still just a Blastoise, you know? It's not like a sort of a legendary or a fusion Pokemon or something like that. It's a GMax Pokemon. I'm gonna be honest, most of these either go straight in the bin. I would consider us quite lucky getting 2 shinies and I think 2 98s out of it, but a handful of backgrounds and all that jazz. I was debating on sorting out Eternatus. We ended up with 11,000 candy and 2,500 XLs. So we could put that up to level 40, I think. I can't do anything because obviously I have no max particles because I've used them all for the battles today. So I think I'm gonna hold off on the whole Eternatus thing and I'll save it for another time because I don't know about you, I'm gonna look at that Pokemon and have a permanent resentment for it. I know it's a good one, but it's gonna remind me of this whole weekend, and I hated this weekend. Then we come on to the whole factor of Eternatus. Now, this event was basically just one big money pit to introduce it, and fine, have a big event to introduce the boss of the D-Max or the Max system and everything, not a problem, but I do think the power-up requirements are frankly extortionate. And also the method in which you've got to do it has been the most unrewarding, unfulfilling, and dissatisfactory thing we've ever had introduced in the game, in my view. It makes no sense to me to battle something that costs you 800 max particles, or the equivalent in Pokecoin/money, to then just get a bit of candy and some Stardust and XL and XP. And my better half had a very sort of good analogy with this. Is basically the whole point of battling something is you then get an encounter at the end of it. That's why if we lose our pass through a remote raid or an in-person thing, you then go to Niantic support and say, hey, give them a damn pass back because the encounter failed or whatever. And then they say, oh no, you got your rewards. I don't battle things to get golden Razzes and Stardust, whereas that's what this really became, was a chase for XP and Stardust. My better half's like, if you put it this way, you could just circumvent the whole battle, save people the hassle and the ball ache and everything, and just have an Eternatus shop where you go in like the normal store. It's just an Eternatus sub-factory of the shop, and you go in and say, right, I'd like to exchange a remote raid pass and 800 max particles and give me candy and XL candy. That's it. That's all you're doing with these Eternamax Eternatus battles, is you are literally exchanging items to get candy and nothing else. I find that whole thing ridiculous, frankly. So that's why I stopped after a good chunk of yesterday and just thought, you know what, this is, even though I've got a really good Eternatus, which I'm eternally thankful for, it's just not worth the effort and the time and the expense. And that sort of thought resonated with a lot of people in the comments of the previous video. It should have been cheaper. You can make things tricky. We have evolution requirements for other Pokemon. Why didn't they do something like, if you want to power it up, then you have a level up requirement, like maybe you've got to walk it a certain amount, like you've got to walk it 2 kilometers and get the candy to power it up, or you get buddy hearts with it to power it up. Something better that means people don't just have to burn their cash, because that's a better implementation in my thinking into the game and the game functions. My Eternatus is 14, 14, 14. Even if it had like the level 50 thing is get to rank 15 in GBL, I would suffer through it to get it to level 50, no problem. The fact that you just have to burn cash is stupid in my view, and whoever thought of that needs a solid rocket up their ass. And in terms of things that need to really be rectified, is just the whole concept was not a max finale or a Go Fest finale in my thinking. Back in 2022, we did have a finale Go Fest, which bookended actually a quintuple Go Fest. We had one at the beginning of June, then we had Berlin, Seattle, finally Sapporo, I think it was, and then in August of 2022, we had the Go Fest finale, which was a brilliant encapsulation of the whole thing. This is the exact opposite. It's a really badly executed way of basically extorting you for money and getting very little in return. People have said the wild spawns, and I completely agree with this. The wild spawns were dead. There was nothing interesting really to chase. You were basically just catching to farm candy and resources for the Pokemon that are featured in both of the GMax and the DMax battles. Quite a few of them have had community days and things like that, which is fine, but if you're catching stuff in the wild, you're not doing the battle and the community bits and pieces. It kind of null and voided itself, really. There should have been a bit more spice, and certainly there should have been shiny boosted. really, because out of all the bits and pieces, you got one shiny in the wild, which is like, okay. Also, the thing is, communication with this whole event. The Dark Skies event encouraged players to burn their max particles, and including the particles in the past. Now, obviously, I know I did my bits and pieces for content every single day of that event to go for the legendaries that were available, but it encouraged you and said you need to do the battles to make sure you get up the ranks to get your Eternatus. So people went out, did level 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, mostly 5-star battles before realizing there wasn't a bloody shiny boost on that tier. A lot of people, including myself, burned the vast majority of the max particles from the Go Pass on the week leading up to it. The key thing with this is they didn't say how much you were going to be given in terms of max particles, and I really don't understand why that is such a secretive element of this event. That kind of goes across the board in terms of things with Niantic and how they showcase what's on offer. It's all very walking on eggshells, kind of like, oh, can't go too into detail about certain things. Bollocks. Give people the black and white view of this is how many max particles you will get every single day. Maybe they did that so that we came to the max finale event this weekend and realized, oh, it's 3,200, that's rubbish. Too late, you can't do anything about it, which is kind of where we're at now, unfortunately. As a whole, this event left a very, very bitter taste, and I really personally hope that they don't replicate it. I don't want to see any more GMax heavy weekend battle things like that in the game unless they're going to fix and change, and I mean seriously change, how it is structured. We obviously talked about the hourly rotation and how basically it was tossed in the bin. It's all very well saying this is the order of what's going to be featured, but most of the hours were completely mishmashed. What was again put on paper didn't correlate to the real life event, and whether that's something that went wrong internally, we will never know, because again, the communication is about as piss poor as you can imagine. The people who make this event need a bloody good hiding over this, and I really hope that they do take notice to some extent of the displeasure of the community and how it's affected, you know, the whole view of the GMax, because today was very slim in terms of numbers on the ground, and a lot of people after doing the free stuff went home. In fact, some people didn't even stay and do all 3,200 max particles. They did 1 GMax, 2 GMax and buggered off, and I cannot blame them. I think that's all about I can really say regarding this event. There's probably a few more things that will come to my mind, but it seems that a lot of people kind of resonate with that viewpoint of this was not worth it, and it's been the worst, most blatant money grab event we've ever seen. All very well structuring something to mean you put your cash into it, but do it in a way that makes it feel satisfactory. You know, you get rewards. Again, we mentioned it in yesterday's video, but the Eternatus battles, if you got a random GMax or Dynamax legendary encounter after the Eternatus battle, that probably would have made more sense and felt more satisfactory, because you could have gone, oh, got a random Articuno for your 800 max particles. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up and say, if you did enjoy this piece of content or the roast at the end of it, please do hit that subscribe button, because we will be back out for more content tomorrow with Don Donzo. And if you did like what you see, please check out some of the videos available here on the channel. We are usually a lot more enthusiastic and having a pleasant time and enjoying the grind and showcasing the events, but this weekend has frankly been bloody awful, and I really hope that they never do it again. But I will say, people, until the next time, do take care.